East of the Pemigewasset River, hidden in a dark fold of the White Mountains, there once stood a small town called Thornton Gore. You won't find it on many maps, and if you walk along Tripoli Road today, you'll pass it without knowing. The forest has taken back nearly everything except for the stone walls, some cellar holes, and the stories. The town was settled in 1804 by families drawn to the region's timber and its promise of good pasture land. The forests were cut back. The land was rough but fertile, and by the 1820s, Thornton Gore had grown 22 farms, a schoolhouse, 2 mills on Eastman Brook, and a small church with a bell that tolled on Sundays. For nearly a century, the town quietly prospered, but not by chance. According to old local lore, the original settlers discovered something strange while they were felling pine trees for their lumber needs. The woods near Thornton Gore felt different than other places. The air seemed cooler even in summer. The fog didn't behave right. And there were places where no animals were seen, not even birds. It's also said that marks were found carved in the granite outcrops near the tree line, petroglyphs from some old tribe perhaps, and some of these depicted stick figures with legs much longer than a normal human. The settlers came to realize they were not alone. Here the history gets hazy. No one knows exactly who the settlers' neighbors were. Some suggest that spirits of dead natives roam the forests like an endless hunting ground. Others say that it was something older out there, something sinister. Whatever it was, a deal was made. The town could remain. The forest would stay still. The brooks would run clean, and the crops would not fail. But once a year, always in early spring, just after the ice thawed, and always at sunset, one person from town had to be chosen. Buried alive in the woods. For the first few years, the townspeople chose criminals or the dying, then the sick. But eventually, when there were no easy choices left, they began drawing lots. Each spring, the residents of Thornton Gore would gather at the edge of town for what they called the choosing. One name was pulled from a wooden box, and that person, no matter their age or standing, was bound, blindfolded, and carried into the forest. They were placed in a shallow grave, arms crossed. The soil was packed down over them by shovel and hand. No gravestone was erected. No one spoke of it after, and the town thrived. For nearly 100 years, Thornton Gore remained untouched by plague, fire, or famine. While other villages declined, Thornton Gore held its own. But nothing lasts forever. By the 1880s, newcomers began to settle there. Loggers, mill investors, families. They didn't like the thought of someone being buried in the woods each year. Most weren't superstitious, not about whatever the town's old-timers were afraid of anyway. The choosing became controversial. Families refused to participate. In time, new people ran the town, and the sacrifices stopped entirely. In 1891, the town briefly had its own post office. Letters can be found now in museums, the first and final letters anybody sent from Thornton Gore. One of them describes what happened in the spring that year, the morning after the last snow had melted. Here is what the letter says. I scarcely know how to put to paper the queer and dreadful events of this morning, yet I must try, lest no one remain to tell it. The day dawned dim, the sun no brighter than a lantern wick near spent, for a thick and unnatural fog had crept in from the timber during the night, and has not yet lifted. There is a smell to it like something gone to rot. From within that fog come shapes, tall yet stooped in a manner ill-fitting to man, and moving with a jerking gait. They walk upon 2 legs, but I am certain they are not of our kind. Now and again I hear the cries of neighbors, sudden and cut short, and I am in dreadful fear. Thomas took his rifle not an hour past to see what might be done, yet he has not returned. The fog presses now upon the very panes of my window, so near that I no longer see the yard, and, God help me, something scratches at the glass. The letter ends abruptly. It was written by a midwife named Ruth Hastings to her sister down in Farmington. The letter was never mailed. When traders from Woodstock arrived later that spring, they found the town deserted. There were no signs of fire, no bodies, not even livestock. Meals sat rotting on tables. Tools were dropped and rusted in the fields. The only sound was the slow and ceaseless creaking of the mill wheels that still turned on Eastman Brook. Everyone was gone. The town was bought and sold over the next decade. The New Hampshire Land Company purchased nearly all of it. The land was logged, stripped, and finally turned over to the government. Today, Thornton Gore lies within the White Mountain National Forest. Hikers pass through. Some notice the silence, the stillness, the feeling that something's listening. A few find the old boundary stones or the ruins of the church foundation, or, most chilling of all, low, unnatural mounds in the leaf litter, edged with moss-covered stones, each no wider than a man's shoulders. They lie in quiet rows beneath the pines, as if the forest has been keeping count, and those who find them do not linger.